Right, you're on.
Okay. Hi, guys. Okay, we're having fun.
I'm getting a cardboard arm made like that for the vehicle.
Oh. I just want to say, Sherry, well done on your
brilliant.
Kevin Arnett expose and all the rest of it.
Well, see, let's just touch on Kevin Arnett for a little bit.
Mm.
If nothing else, I happen to be, at this moment in time, the most infamous person on the earth, and yet I was in Port Alberni the same time as Kevin Arnett was, and even to the point the front page of the newspaper threatening to kill my wife if she didn't acknowledge I was Christ. Now, he's a minister at the church at the time, and yet he will not acknowledge that I was even there, let alone what I was claiming to be. When we contacted his secretary, who was absolutely 100% ecstatic.
Yeah, I think it was you, Sherry, that did contact the secretary. It's like, oh my God. Now, and that was, what, 2 years ago. But going back to the night, they were there in Port Alberni at the same time. And Yahweh was the taxi driver. He was infamous amongst the Indians, and they would call him Jesus, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they called him Jesus. And, with the ark that he was building, which we're going to touch on.
They called it the Jesus Ark.
So you would think somebody, a minister of the cloth, who knows, how many people live in Port Alberni?
26,000.
26,000, so it's a small town. And
the police phone number is 720-2424.
The Jesus number. Okay, all right. So Kevin,
you should be able to call any cop there and just say my name. They should know it.
Yeah.
Go to the newspaper, Alberni Valley Times.
Yeah.
Here I am on the front page of the newspaper, and it's saying, man threatens to kill his wife for not calling him Christ. Which I didn't say, but in fact was very close to what I was talking to with Pauline, who was my wife, had witnessed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of miracles, right from the Yucatan right the way through. And yet, because she thought I was getting some money, she was going to go for that.
Mm.
Extraordinary story.
Oh, right. Okay, so I'm going to read what Yahweh was putting together yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Bit of humour, but also there's this genetic tie-in to miracles. All right, Alice Maloney Marshall was born on May the 18th in 1882. So Yahweh's paternal grandmother.
She had twin girls, my aunties, of course. And one was born just before midnight on her birthday, and the other one was born 20 minutes later.
On her birthday, was it? So one was born just before and one was born on her birthday. Yeah.
Or the other way around. I think it might have been at midnight, and then the 19th was the next day.
Okay, so one of her daughters was born on her birthday, May 18th, and then the twin was born on the 19th. It's amazing. Anyway, so this ripping yarn, I attended St. Michael's Marist Brother College in 1955. Each day I was caned for answering him as he lie in wait to ask me to condemn myself for responding to his "Good morning, Master Marshall. How are you this morning?" Yahweh, I'll just read it as the way it's written. I would respond to his sinister trap by replying, "Good brother Lucius, how are you this morning?" Neither were a question, but an intellectual battle. He would retort, "Only God is good," dragging me to the classroom for 12 cuts of his 5-foot cane. He was challenging me, Jesus, as a child, to say that I was not him, and so I refused to bow to his demands to admission that I was not Jesus. It was a daily ritual. 1955 was the first year of a college for 10 and 11-year-old boys from the convents. I had been beaten at the St. Bernard's Primary Convent daily by Sister Margaret Mary with a long square stick like a broom handle. So he's gone from, Sister Margaret Mary in the primary grade, St. Bernard's Primary Convent, now graduated to St. Michael's Marist Brothers, where he's being caned daily, this time by Brother Lucius, which of course is another name for Lucifer.
See, this all stemmed from the fact that it had got out that Mary had appeared to me in the playground. And
Right.
when two boys were arguing, two 9-year-old boys were arguing, I was only 6.
Right, so this is while you were at the convent.
Yes.
The primary school
Absolutely.
convent as 6-year-old.
So I'm going to go and punch these two guys out because my mother, Daphne, she was always had a motto, punch them in the guts. The fact. Right? Don't even hesitate. So I got to be that way. And these two boys were saying Jesus was a Pharisee, and the other one says no, he wasn't. He was a Sadducee. So I go into an instant rage, and I'm tearing up to it, and I'm going to have them, right? I'm 6, they're 9. Right, I'm going to punch them both out. Then Mary takes me back in the vision. And this is the wheels within wheels scenario. You've got, at that time, I was 24 days old. It was a Thursday. August the 31st, or in Captain Cook's time when he's sailing out here, August the 30th, because the other side, based on his Harrison clock position, when he sighted the bloody asteroid of M40 of Messier of that year of 1769, and add 8 days to that, and you've got my 69th birthday. So that's turning the wheels within wheels. You've got a 69-year period rolling around, right? Including the 280 days gestation. You've got to add that in, right? And that gives you all these sacred numbers that line up. And we'll see as we go into this thing here. That the persecution against me started as a child.
As a child.
Right?
Yes.
Because they did not believe I was Jesus, even though I was the most royal plant. Now, the Catholic record, it goes way back. It's got all the Golightleys and Marshalls in there. Right? The Maloney's. And
So, a fairly shallow bit of investigation on their behalf would have turned it up.
well, they all knew where I was, because they knew I was predicted to come to be born in that particular spot. Because it was verified by the Freemasonries. And Freemasonry and the Catholic Church is just a Hegelian dialectic. It's all the same. It all goes to the Black Pope. And above him is Rothschild. Rothschild's most evil. Why? Because I was born on Rothschild.
Yeah. How many times have we said this to you? And Yahweh has said, if you go back and turn up his writings from as soon as he could get them onto the net, he's been alerting the world that, hello, Rothschild is the devil. He was born onto Rothschild Avenue, the pit of hell. So he's been exposing it for a very long time. And now, of course, on January the 12th, 2012, here, David Icke telling the world, well, it's Rothschild, it's Rothschild. Well, hello.
Why doesn't, like, we've contacted David Icke. I even made a site up, a fake David Icke.
That's right.
Like, he's got to know about it.
And Dazza has sent so much. His dad has been banned from
all these dudes have got to do is acknowledge me. That's it. The game's over. Now, I've already done it for them, you see, because of their denial. This is also going international, of course. But we are talking about newspaper items that we're going to get into in a minute. These newspaper items that appeared in Port Alberni. Man threatens to kill his wife because she denies that he's Christ. Right, number one. I go to jail over that. And the other one was a Scottish lady who worked for the Parksville Valley, is it Valley Times, or Parksville Times. Joan, I think her name was. And of course, I was pretty smooth in those days, and I seduced her.
Sean Connery-like.
Hello, John. So that's photographs in there, because she got me onto the front page of the newspaper saying the man who would be king, because she, in her mind, what she whispered to me was that she wanted a Sean Connery type Christ, not the bullshit one that they're setting up.
The image of the beast.
The image of the beast.
Okay, so let's make everybody's day by continuing with this ripping yarn.
The day it come out, March the 2nd, 1996, just before I was going to scamper back to Australia and take up Australia on, the sunlight for Port Alberni was 666 minutes.
Okay?
Okay.
No, got it. All right. Okay, it was a
I'd like to
daily...
say a cheerio to Alec Jones.
Alec Jones.
Good on you, Alec. You're doing a good job. You'll be out of a job soon, but you are doing a good job. Denying. Christ.
We shall...
Don't even talk about it. Lunatic in Australia. Oh, prove me wrong.
What irritates me is that...
They're all part of the demonic thing.
Of course they are, because if you were genuine in really wanting to end the shit, the demon possessed...
You go down all rabbit holes, right? Like there's one that I haven't been there. I haven't seen one spotlight coming down. However, I did get on the newspaper front page. The man who would be king at the time, Sean Connery, was bringing out a movie, The Man Who Would Be King, I think.
Mm.
And she had this beautiful ability to put things into words, word codes in it. And of course that must be in the archives in the Parksville newspaper.
I'm going to go looking for it soon. Now, all right, here we go, with a daily ritual. So now we've got Sister Mary. This is before Brother Lucius, with a long square stick like a broom handle. She would grab my hand and bend the knuckles around hers and chop with the sharp edge of a ruler, lecturing me on some infringement until the blood ran. 2 fingers...
She also used a feather duster as well.
All right. 2 fingers were required to bleed, usually the second and third from my little pinky. As well, so this is as well, that's one way of doing it. As well, she would also beat me with an upturned hand, she wailing it with the stick, its edges to strike the muscle of my left hand, since she was right-handed. So show them where they...
This would all bruise and be purple around here. Now that area.
And then he goes on to say it was permanently blue. And what was my crime? Well, at least she left the other toddlers alone. I was 6 years old. I had, by the time I ran into her, concluded that all adults were loveless demons and I was in hell. It was up to me to break out the little kids. That was just after November the 14th, 1948. I was 4.848 years old, which, as all children will recall from YouTube, is the height of the Great Pyramid altar to the Lord, mentioned in Isaiah 19:19, to the tip being 4.8 feet rounded. As well, that number, 4848, as well, which is twice 2424. That's right. That's not in the script. However, as well, the number of occasions the name Jesus in capitals when pasted into the ELS program. Now that's to do with the Bible code, isn't it?
That's right.
The skip sequencing of the Bible code. Fools.
So they ordered it. They made sure you can't find Jesus in there, right? So I said, if it's the code in there, I'm going to put the Jesus back in. So what I did, I got Notepad and then typed in capitals Jesus. Now what the reason for that was that when you paste JESUS in capitals into the search engine at a 10,000 skip on the ELS program put out by Jews, it will replace the JESUS with Hebrew equivalents. So it'll give you a Hebrew word, right? But it won't do it if you type it in directly. So if you just go there and type in Jesus capitals, it won't get nothing. So when you paste it in, it confuses it and it sets the 5 letters in simultaneously side by side, giving them the Hebrew equivalent. You press the search and it comes up 4848 times. Right?
All right. That's what I was about to read. Okay. Simply fill it with a notepad, Jesus, copy-paste, count number 4848. What? Yes, and counts the number of ELS in a skip of 10,000 results in 4848. Okay, so you just said all that. Moving right along. Continuing with the ripping yarn. I have refused Okay, so now we're getting into, why. I mean, apart from being who he is, but also, remember, it's Sister Margaret Mary, the one that's torturing him every day. I had refused to learn to read when I started in Gardener's Road Primary School. So this is even before the St. Bernard's Convent, right?
That's right.
You'd refused to read then.
I was 5 years old.
Okay. Within a short period, I would memorise books after they had been read to me by my sister. However, due to the pressure of the nuns who would come to the door on the weekends, so they would go to his house on the weekends and talk to, Mother, and pressuring, so he was moved to St. Bernard's Convent on Botany Road in Botany. That's because your sister was there, right?
1.97 kilometres away, then.
Okay, and what is 197? Brian Leonard Marshall. Atomic weight of gold, the area of the earth in miles squared. Okay, so now that's how I ended up in St. Bernard. So now, Sister Margaret Mary, St. Bernard's, wanted me to learn to read, and Yahweh, I refused. A 72-page book was on the desk and passed around to the children.
Who were learning to read.
Right.
And doing well.
Yes, of course they were. Page whatever. And a child stammers through it. So she'd call out a page and a child would
then
have
you
to
pass it around in class, right?
Okay.
Inevitably it's coming up to me.
All right. Finally, my turn. And I refused to utter a word. My sister heard about it. She, 5.402 years older than me.
Means terror.
Fear and terror, wasn't it?
Fear.
Yeah, phobos.
She did terrorise me too.
She said that if I get the book, she will read it to me. It was then I waited until dark, over the fence at the back of the school, playing around the lakes, to get the book from the classroom under the shadow of darkness. Scamper it home, and as she had promised, she read it to me. The next day I show up early, slipped the book back, and waited for the hag to strike.
Hag from hell.
Now the infamous memorised book is presented to me. Page 68. The hag snarled. I was caught. I didn't know the numbers. June had read it to me. Scowling, she turns to page 68 and barks, "Read it!" tapping me with her stick on the head. I counter with a stammer, attempting to say the first words. She falls for it and reads the first 3 words. And I slowly say the 3 words, then the 4th, then the 5th, and she staggered back. That was the prompting. You just needed the prompting to remind you what the rest of the script was.
What page you were on.
Okay. Oh, what joy! She was so pleased. She had finally taught this urchin to read. The next day, I had the numbers down pat. On I would go. I stammer, she prompts, and then I was off. She strolling about as proud as Punch. A surprise. And oh shit.
She didn't beat me that day.
Moment. Mother Superior had heard of the amazing grasp of reading that Sister Margaret Mary had fostered in her disciple, Master Marshall. And she came for a demo. Standing behind the class, me at the front, the sacred book of catechism placed before me, a bark is heard. Page 44. Momentarily, I lost concentration, opening the book, the usual stammer, and then began to read flawlessly. Hovering closer was Mother Superior, like the axe of the executioner's shadow, poised to strike, her scrawny finger pointing as she inched it closer to the book. she announced to Sister Margaret Mary, "The book is open on the wrong page and it is upside down." Sister Margaret Mary was shattered. Needless to say, it would have been rather pointless to have told her Mary had appeared to me in the playground and told me we were Essene, and if the Jews found out they would kill us. That was on a Thursday, August the 31st, in 1950, when my grandmother, Alice, remember Alice back at the beginning, Alice Maloney, born on May the 18th, 1882, my grandmother was 68.28 years of age when I was reborn on January the 11th, 1944. So this is where all this ripping yarn is leading into. It's all about his grandmother. Now, 6828 is found in Genesis as a concordance number. Here we have Abraham before his name change from Abram. And there is a code in the same verse. It's Genesis 13:14, quoting, "And the Lord said unto Abram," after that Lot,
the Lord said, Satan said,
was separated from him, "Lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward and eastward and westward." Now, northward is the number 6828 and is north of direction. Northward, north. How many ways can you say northward? Anyway, so talking about Abram, he has to go to a place where he can see in all directions. Northward, 6828. Southward has the number 5045. Eastward has the number 6924. And westward is the number 3220. When you add the four numbers and divide by 4, it gives the number 6028, which is 800 less than 6828. And of course 800 is the number for Lord. So the bottom line is, it's all bullshit. It's minus the Lord. All of it is minus the Lord.
That's right.
Without the Lord.
This is the Lord telling Moses or whoever the hell he's talking to do such and such, right? When it says Abraham, is it?
Yeah.
So when they say blah, 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 what they're doing is changing the name of Abram
to Abraham.
And then you got a problem.
Now we get down because
this goes, I don't know what I'll put in there or not.
Yeah, we're getting to it, babe. That's what I'm saying. We get down to
How do you know what I'm saying?
You're going to talk about the name change and what it means.
No.
You weren't? Oh, you're not now.
I was taken to a very high mountain.
Oh.
Jesus was offered by the devil, taking him up to the very high mountain, same location where he could see the whole world, north, south, east and west. Now there's only one place. Can we tell it?
Yes.
Oh, there's only one place this can occur, and that's the Great Pyramid, because it was north latitude 0. That's where the North Pole was, if you like. From there, you go back down, and you've got north, south, east and west, because you can only get that standing at the centre point of the round earth mass of Eden at that time. And that's the exact centre point today, with all the continents moved away, and it gets you the same. That is the actual distance.
And we're getting there. So the mountain of the Lord is the Great Pyramid. Right, babe?
Yeah.
We shall go up there. And there's a song. Mountain of the Lord. Anyway. Okay. Now, but before we go there, backtrack to what I read there about
I've forgotten where we're going.
Oh, well, I know that. That's why I'm trying to contain you, because it is in the script and we want to get there. Okay, but before we go there are 153 verses with the word north, and we have yet to solve the riddle. Where is 0 degrees north and south and east and west? And you've just told them the answer is the Great Pyramid. because it is originally the centre of the landmass of the earth. Now the altar to the Lord, with its base of 36524.24 pyramid inches, which is count the inches as days, is 100 solar years. So that's around the 4 sides. The Great Pyramid at a height of 4848/9 plus feet is the completed height with the rejected capstone in place. But it is only 454.5 feet high without the capstone. The words from the above text in Genesis, so that's 13:14, Genesis 13:14, so the words northward, southward, eastward and westward, have a total English gematria of 4545. So that's that completed height only up to the platform without the capstone in place. And this is the value, so 4545 is the value in Hebrew of the verses from Isaiah chapter 19, verses 19 and 20. When you add them together, their gematria is 4545. So, for those of you who might be hearing this for the first time, this is what God does. He measures his temple, which is the earth. The altar in the temple is the Great Pyramid. That's what it's all about. It's all about him. Okay, so Isaiah 19 and 20, which is the pillar of the altar to the Lord in the midst of Egypt. In the beginning, this is what he just said, the centre of the earth landmass was the great circle of Eden. The centre of it looks northward, southward, eastward and westward. And it, that is the centre of it, the great circle of Eden, is the Great Pyramid. Calculate the speed of light, and based on Greenwich longitude and latitude, it is the speed of light expressed as degrees at the east-west meridian of longitude. And here we have in kilometres the speed of light, 299,792,458 kilometres per second, equals in degrees 29.9792458. This point on the footing of the pyramid measures 3333 kilometres from the equator. Are you beginning to get the picture if you are hearing this for the first time? The word north is found 153 times in 141 verses of the Old Testament, ending with Zechariah 14, verse 4. And it's a message to the 144,000. 14:4 is 144. So it's a message to the 144,000 who get it. Get what? Get all of this. Get what he's saying to the world. It's the numbers. It's the numbers. I measure my temple. I'm God and I'm proving it because I measure my temple. And now I'm thinking about it. I was thinking about him this morning. There's this Jewish man, or he might be a Messianic Jew, whatever, but he has spent his lifetime measuring the temple of Solomon, believing that's what you were talking about, measuring the temple. So he's got all measurements down to nth degree, feeling like he's all prepared, ready for the coming of the Lord, and that's what you wanted. No, the temple is the earth. The Christ is back, rejected by everybody. He measures the earth to prove who he is. You see, he's the architect. He's the grand architect, and his name is in his creation. So when you measure the earth, it's all about him.
It's a living.
Okay, it's really quite simple. But there's only 144,000, and guess what? Who get it? And guess what? Now, it's a message to the 144,000 who actually get the way his mind works and understands it. Now, the 144,000 are the outer capping stones of the Great Pyramid. Now, of them, there's only 19 left today. They're around the base of the pyramid. Only 19 remain. The others have all been stolen and scattered, smashed up and scattered, and are spread throughout the world, or mostly Cairo, representative of the world, and they've been completely devoured, if you like, by the world. So, bottom line is,
see, if there's equal path to stay here, we can't bring more kids back. Because they're going into paradise, right? So you can't have evil in paradise.
No.
I'm not going to bring my kids back here.
Absolutely not.
Into this evil.
And that's why he said, as Jesus, unless you become like a small child, you'll not enter nor see the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God. He's on the earth. That's where the kingdom now grows out from wherever he is, and he's on the earth.
It'll be easier for Centurion Tank to pass through an eye of a needle
than for a rich man
to enter
the kingdom
paradise
of God. That's right. Okay, so moving right along. So bottom line is there's only 19 today.
Donald Trump rang this morning, by the way.
Yes, dear. Not falling for that one again. I was thinking about that just a little while ago. when you said something to me the other day, and my immediate reaction was, you did not. And then you talked about trust. Well, if you don't trust God, who can, you know? And I'm thinking, well, you spoil it for me. You know, the crying wolf bit.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the 19 today, the 19 capstones, the outer stones that remain at the base of the pyramid, represent my apostles today who will not deny me unto death. So there's only 19 of us. Hello, for all of you rejectors out there and all of you who've got too much ego to humble yourself and say, oh, Venom had it right.
They missed the rapture.
Yeah, missed the boat, you've missed the rapture.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, you've missed the rapture, you've missed the boat, you've lost the plot, and you haven't a clue.
And you've been born back here to face judgment.
Hello. Okay.
Not that hard, is it?
It is. Oh, how does Joel say? With Job? Not that fucking hard. All right, the name Abram and Abraham are two entirely different meanings. Abram means exalted father, or high father, as reference to his passion towards God. And then this is Abraham, reduces his exalted position to Abraham. So who's he? The thing that he was talking to, or that was talking to him, reduces it to Abraham. And so thereby it becomes that of subservience to becoming king of the earth. And all of the devil's religions, which are Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. They are the Abrahamic religions, the coat of many colors, Joseph of Egypt, and they, of course, have hijacked the Great Pyramid. Now, my words in here, I just did something very unusual. Jesus came to show the way, the truth, and the life. And it was nothing to do with sacrifice, bloodlust, or law. He's not a lawyer.
Or your dick.
What?
Or your dick.
What do you mean?
Hmm?
Oh, you mean the phallic religions? Yeah, okay. All right, so reading Zechariah 14:4, quote, and his feet shall stand in that day. Now, this is what everybody's waiting for, hon. They've got you honing down like a bing me down Scotty so that your feet touch on the Mount of Olives. So once I finish reading this...
Once we show the movie to the kids, they'll understand it. I remember that.
Okay. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives. Now, what is the Mount of Olives?
People.
The people. The people of all the world.
So it's in your mind, right?
Yeah. Which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north and toward the south. Okay, so that's what they're all expecting, this huge earthquake to split the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, move north and south, and that's when you'll be back. When your feet touch down, that's what's happening. It's already happened. The spiritual. Okay. Now, when averaging the four directions, northward, southward, eastward, and westward, they've all got numbers. When you averaging the four directions is that number which his grandmother was Alice Maloney, 68.28 years old when the Christ was reborn to the earth, less the Lord number of 800, you've got 6028. And that is found only in 3 verses. And we're going to read Isaiah 47 verse 1 is the last and the least condemning. Isaiah 47:1 says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." And that word 6028 is the word delicate. That number 6028 is the word delicate. Okay, so, all right, we've got Abram and Abraham again. Abram is the same as Abraham. How can 87 be the same as 85? That's reference to the concordance number. We're speaking number logics here. And Abram is exalted father. And Abraham is then the father of multitude or chief of multitudes. So, and friend of God, founder of Hebrew nation by God's elective covenant, which of course is all total bullshit. So, wrong, says Yahweh, no exalted father. Remember, they took out the 800 from the 6828.
Well, the name change was Lucifer, didn't it?
That's right.
The Lord said.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus said, "No one's seen or heard the Father. If you've seen him, you've seen me. He and I are one."
You're looking at
In other words, all of the Lord says in the Old Testament is bullshit.
Okay. So now what have we got now? We have the harlot trapped by forbidding the use of geometry. Why did the harlot, Roman Catholic Church, forbid the use of geometry?
Because it was gematria.
Gematria, and all roads lead to the Great Pyramid. Right. Not to Rome, but to the Great Pyramid. Now, Yahweh goes on, he says, what is it all about? Well, a crucifixion and enlightenment have one thing in common. They are very painful. And to be willing to do so is paramount to insanity. He goes on, for me, it began when I was 4.848 years of age, when Gabriel spoke to me for the first time. The ELS, reminding you, the ELS number for Jesus, 4848, with a skip sequence of 10,000, of course. Since then, Gabriel, has dropped in when forced to do so, like when there is imminent danger to others nearby. Had he not intervened with a loud "Stop!" I would have killed my youngest daughter, Nicole. Or when I was told to marry that one on my first night out like a dog off a short chain, divorced from Eileen, when me and my mate from St. Michael's Morris Brothers College slid into the Parents Without Partners ballroom on the first floor at the Returned Soldiers League Club in Bankstown. I've been there. Or in Canada, being filmed by my neighbours, the RCMP, when I was stepping over a pile of cedar I was using to build a boat, carrying, by holding with my fingers from the top, a panel of shatterproof plate door glass, when he said, "Squeeze it." And at that moment a light appeared around me about 16 feet high, engulfing me in a sphere of millions of gold and silver lights like 2-inch long needles. I said, "What?" He repeated, "Squeeze it." And when I did, poof! The pane of glass blew to smithereens, that was Dex's word, becoming like grains of sugar. We should say sand. Grains of sand,
Salt.
That's what glass is.
No, it looks like salt.
Okay,
Cubic salt.
okay. Grains of salt onto the ground. And then he said, "Measure it." I did. They stretched 197 inches across. The number of my name, 197. The atomic weight of gold, 197. The area of the earth, 197 million square miles. And so on and on it goes. And then Yahweh says, but I digress. After the abuse at the nunnery, so this is the convent of St. Bernard's, I'm registered at St. Michael's Marist Brothers College, Hague Avenue, Daceyville, Sydney. Now remember, this is Brother Lucius now with the cane every morning. When we measure from my home, where I would live with my family until I was 942 days old, when we measure from that point to the precise point where Brother Lucius would lie in wait for me each morning, it is a distance of 24.74 centimetres. Reminding everybody, 2424 is the number listing in the Greek concordance for Jesus. And 942 is the number of verses in the New Testament with Jesus mentioned in them 973 times, and 973 is the distance in kilometres from where we are sitting right here to his place of birth in the St. Margaret's Hospital, Sydney, Australia, on January the 11th, 1944 at 2:22 a.m. as the thief in the night, just as I promised. 222 is my length at birth, 22.2 inches. The number of times wisdom and truth are found in the King James Version of the Bible, 1611 only. And my prime adult body weight in pounds, 222 pounds. It is also 3 times 74, and 74 is Jesus in English gematria. And so on and on it goes. Now we have a lovely picky here of the measurement to your rebirth location from the Marist Brothers. Now here we are. You'll get to see this. It's a split screen. Joel's been splitting things up and doing a great job. Here's the photo that appeared Saturday, the 2nd of March, 1996, on the front page of that Parksville. Was it called Squalicum Times or something like that?
No, it was Parksville Times.
Parksville Times. Okay, anyway.
Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lovely photo. I mean, it's very pixelated from here. This is out of your archive. You found it.
I found it.
First time, yeah. Never. I've not seen this
PCX file, so nothing opens it.
Okay. So here we go. Scrolling through this, there's a beautiful picky, and he certainly does look like Sean Connery / Dex thought a little bit of David Niven in there. Parksville Times ran a front page story after being in court with threatening to kill his wife for not calling him Christ, Saturday, March 2nd, 1996, and it was titled "The Man Who Would Be King." I only needed one newspaper to run the story and I win. Well, that was March the 2nd, 1996, a Sabbath. Front page, checkmate. Why? The sunlight duration for Port Alberni on that date was 666 minutes. And here's the picky again. Oh, it's lovely, babe. Now, measuring the time span. It's 6,138 days or 876.6/7 weeks until when? Friday, the 21st of December, 2012. Now, as Yahweh's already said to you, the reporter Joan was from Scotland, fell in love with him. That was the kind of king she wanted, she whispered in his ear. Now, we've got a reference here to Joshua 13:3, reading from Sihor, which is before Egypt, even unto the borders of Ekron, 6138. Remember, that was the days in time. Northward, 6828. So what have we got going here? Which is counted to the Canaanite, 5 lords of the Philistines, the Gazathites, and the Ashtothites, and the Ashkelonites, and the Gittites, and the Ekronites, and also the Avites. That's more than 5. It's
There's some
1, 2,
cassowaries in
3,
there
4,
too,
5, 6. That's 6. It's
I thought it
not
was
5.
7.
No, look, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
5, but the text says 5 lords. So,
I'm glad you noticed.
yeah.
That's how I did.
Now, the
Go
most...
back to the number though. The
Yeah.
two numbers are together. Right?
Yes, I know that. We're getting to that.
Oh.
Okay, I've already, dropped the seed. Hello. The most,
Alex Jones wouldn't get it.
no, the most northerly of the 5 principal cities of the Philistines, located in the lowlands of Judah and later given to Dan. That's out of the Blue Bible Concordance. Now, right beside Ekron, which is 6138, is the word northward, 6828. Remember we began this ripping yarn with the age of his mother, grandmother, Alice Maloney, 68.28 years old. So it gave you the number when he was born, reborn to the earth, 6828. And it was the word for northward, and now it's right beside Ekron. So, what does it all mean? Yahweh writes, and so by outsmarting the Freemason-owned newspaper, a moment in Ezekiel's wheels. Remember Ezekiel's wheels within wheels we were talking about yesterday? When yet again, a date is a wheel within a wheel of 69 years. See, it's all to do, he is the father of time. Ending December 21st, 2012. Here it is. So we've got Joshua 13:3 from Sihor, and is before Egypt, even unto the borders of Ekron, 6138. The 6138 is the time from March 1996 to December 21st, 2012, in days. And
So we've got 66 sunlight, we've got the distance in time, and that means what?
Well, let's get there, because I want to build it up. Remember, it's a ripping yarn. It's all about selling the sizzle and not the steak, right?
Gritty, isn't it?
Oh, it is totally gritty, poignant and funny. Okay, a ripping yarn. Oh, what makes a ripping yarn?
Grippy,
Gritty, poignant and funny.
Oh,
No, it goes
witty.
funny, gritty.
Oh.
Well, gritty is witty. well, gritty is truth, but
Something
witty
to
at
get
the
your
same
teeth
time.
into.
Yeah, something you get in your...
You can't put down.
Oh, that's right. Just like the angel, his stories had all those elements. That's right. All right, so moving right along. Now, so 6138 is 16.8 years. Now, what is 168? We should have a moment of silence here while everybody's racking their brains. What does 168 mean? Tick, 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 tick. I'll tell you. Of course, it's his birth date as Jesus. The 17th of June in 2 BC. Well, the 17th of June is the 168th day of the year.
And it's also in 1946 when I was 888 days old.
That's right. There we go. Jesus. Now, moving right along, we've got northward.
I get accused of using my own name in vain, you know.
Oh, do you? Well, honey, you and me both. So moving right along in reading Joshua 13:3, we've got Ekron,
There we go.
6138, northward, 6828. Oh, it's going to have to be split, John, so I'll have to do it. So I've got over. Now, 6828, of course, I was already remind you, Alice Maloney's age, grandmother, 18th of May, 1882 to January 11th, 1944, 68.28 years old. Now, I think we've repeated that there. Yes, we have, and then you've got the 5 lords, and there's actually 6. So, all right, where does it all end? Okay, this is the conclusion. The mind, via your soul, is the consciousness outside of your body. A sphere of interdimensional reality, truth via awareness, connects you all to each other in a world image of God.
We should think like God.
Now, in order to bring it all together, and this is the importance of your suffer the little children, hinder them not, for to them belongs the kingdom of God. And you've heard him say over and over and over the following words. when everybody becomes like a small child. Now, what does a small child do? They trust their father to do them only good. Okay, so when everybody becomes like a small child to trust their father to do the right thing by them as the righteous king, then the world will have paradise, because nothing will get past him. In today's dysfunctional world, this is exactly what the Zionists have set out to do. And we've said over and over, Rothschild Avenue. And it was David who pinpointed...
What's the eagle stand for?
Oh, Dex, that came from you the other day, the eagle. What was that on the...
Well, that's apparently they've got to wear it because then it acts as a sacrifice, then that person's death is a sacrifice to whoever their sacrifice is.
Ah,
When
somebody has the eagle on them.
Well, every uniform of the army around the world has
right.
the eagle on it.
So it means that they've been nominated for sacrifice
themselves.
Well, yes,
but by wearing it, they have to wear it.
So if the soldier dies, he's a sacrifice.
Yeah,
if he's wearing the
eagle.
Right.
Now,
so that's 105 Rothschild Avenue.
Which means eagle.
Hmm.
Of course, 105.
That's right.
Now, you've got the Eagle, American Eagle clothing company too, that has everybody wearing eagles, right?
Oh, right. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know
the American Eagle clothing company, and its tags are eagles, of course. So, all right.
Well, eagle also means angel.
Angel. So, you're going to have an evil angel or a...
Well, take your pick.
Yeah. It boils down to who do you serve?
How about we just change your eagle to mean it'll save your life?
Mm. Yeah.
As long as you don't start shooting. Now, I've said before, and I'll say it again, that the Zionists are behind all the problems of the world, and they have set the Jews up after the Balfour Agreement was already signed, and then concentration camps, some were unknown to Hitler.
Well, yeah.
Some people did suffer terrible things.
Well, Irving has proved that absolutely. Hitler, he didn't sign anything for the camps, and he didn't even visit.
Yeah.
And that's why when the Red Army has overtaken Auschwitz...
Because it was built by the people who owned R.B. Farman, which was Rockefeller.
Mm.
This was all about. So they panic the Jews, which is natural, and then start all sorts of programs, Operation Ezekiel out of Russia, for example, to bring the Jews back to the Holy Lands, because they're going there and they're not going to get this terrible treatment ever again, which is quite justified. However, the Zionists who control the armies there are mental cases. They're not Jews, they're mental cases.
Mm.
And of course they are quite prepared to deny the Jews their saviour, which whoever saves them at this point in time, because they are facing destruction, is their Messiah, sure. Yeah. I'm going to put my hand up. Leave them alone. So there'll be no devastation of the Middle East that the Zionists are trying to start World War III with. It's not going to happen. You're already in the judgment tribunal room. You're past the Milky Way galaxy equator on the 11th of December last year, because the Catholic Church is too stupid to take into account the difference in time between 1 BC and 1 AD. And let's put the calendar out by the 0 date of 365 days, and then they added another 10 days they took off because the Temple of the Winds, which is in Palenque, by the way, in a pyramid there, was showing them that they was out by 10 days in 1582, so they changed it. But the date they changed it on was the sunrise and sunset for Rome was 666 minutes. And that was the 4th of October 1582. So you get the 666 again, here it again. So as there is no time difference between then crucifixion and creation, because with the Hindi where it all comes from, it all happens simultaneously with wheels within wheels. So what I do is I step between realms when necessary to get the job done. There's a trail of righteousness there, and it's all genetically inspired to prove the point.
So wrapping up the ripping yarn?
You can't comprehend the mind of God. Don't even try. Don't go there. Shut your face. Tear your books out. There's no Quran. Abrahamic. Is it Abrahamic?
There's no Abrahamic covenant.
Yeah. Covenant. No.
Yeah. God did not choose.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And there's no choosing and so forth. You can't go choose yourself and just tell the world that God said that, because the God had said it wasn't the Father, because Jesus says the Father never spoke to anyone yet. If you want to talk to the Father, you're talking to him. Well, the same thing applies to that.
Okay, so wrapping it up, then we can shut it down and get it up. so everybody has a sphere around them, sphere that is their consciousness, as Gabriel is Yahweh's consciousness. And Gabriel has he's been directing the vehicle. This is the vehicle of the Father, right? The soul driving around in the vehicle, just as your body is the vehicle for your soul. Now, paradise is a state of consciousness where the soul has nothing to worry about. Nothing. Because the Father worries about it for them. Now, that's what a child doesn't worry about it. They're just busy playing and doing what they want to do, and having fun with the neighbour's kids or whatever, because Daddy's taking care of it all. Oh, how many of you? Certainly, when I was growing up in my family, it was the parents who had the concern for everything. We had everything that we needed. We didn't know what they were going through. So it is with the Father. He worries about it all. And then my joke is that he worries about it all and fixes it for them by handing it all over to the mother. Yeah, right, okay. Now, we've got here 942 days today. 942. Yes. I was cleaning the shower recess the other day because we're moving, and I put my back out. However, yesterday it was okay. I had a good day. This morning I woke up and I could not move. Now, this is very unlike me, I say. This is not me. I don't get worse, I get better. But I can hardly move. So we come out here, and of course it was all about the word backwards, backwards, backwards. Northward, southward, eastward, westwards. And I'm saying to Yahweh this morning, do the numbers backwards for each of the four of that. Do the numbers backwards, add them up, and then find the average. And of course, it actually described the word backwards, didn't it? And so, anyway, I'm all better now because Gabriel kicked in when Yah said, right, fix it. That's his prayer. Fix it, Gabe. So, 942 days was from your birthday, January 11th, 1944, August the 10th, 1946. That's when they moved to Botany Road from...
And the solar eclipse of the 25th of January, 8,888.8 miles.
Right. Jesus. 888 is Jesus in Greek. But now, when you add the 942 days, so from that date in time, 10th of August, 1946, and adding 2424, day, so that's the Jesus number again. When you add it together, it's, what is it, 25817. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter, but it lands on the 21st December 2012. And that's when the game is over. Unless the soul has become like the small child. Okay, Dad, whatever you say. And that becoming like the small child is the wedding garment. The soul, will not inherit immortality and cannot remain on the earth.
An interesting thing the other day, or maybe even today, talked about, yes, it was Alexander, said they have life-extending technology and they can roll back their genetics and make them younger and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Didn't work for fucking Leopold, did it?
No, I was thinking that. Leopold was 84 and he died on the 13th of April, which is
84
when...
is what?
Marshall, hello, Emmanuel, God with us, and Marshall.
So here's Leopold Rock what's his name?
Rothschild. Mm.
Dead as a maggot.
On April the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Cut-off day.
Exactly when I said it's going to start.
Now,
But the angels are going through these monsters one at a time, and the idea being that they will start to panic.
Mm.
As each day it gets closer. It's like the old classroom where the Mother Superior was hovering behind me in a shadow of an axe, ready to lop a couple of hands off, something like that. That's what it's all about.
Okay. We're finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is it?